You that cannot differentiate between a forearm and your wrist wants to set up a committee or conference to challenge the work of the police. Are you a joke? Is Nigerian police force a joke to you? I was listening to your madness with Richie and Susie slash Anita that ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń gbọ́ preliminary reports since October. That report was either late September or first week of October. You are now just listening to it. So everything you all have been doing was aheso. Kotelong Bolori, yeah, but he was saying his forearm was at his wrist. It was when someone told them to go and use Google. So African Thief went to use Google to tell them what forearm, according to Oyinlola, his forearm and his upper arm. Ah, oh girl. And he was planning to write a book on Mohbad's issue. Every single one of these people had a motive. Every single one of them had a motive. And the motive does not include respecting the widow or the child that was left behind. They are like a vulture cycling around a carcass. That is what all these people were. Every single day, every three AK market days, you're bringing a new narrative. Somebody said they're looking for somebody called JJ. She knows Wumi. She was at Wumi's birthday in 2023. Blah, 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 blah.
Found JJ for them this morning now.
I said, na JJ we can't see the fine today. We don't come up for Damola. And I don't see Damola. They are looking for driver. They are looking for this. When they were reading this, when they were listening to the report, number one, a preliminary report is not a final statement. It is just a perusal of what we have done, what we have found. We are updating you. When we go deeper, then we can give you a proper update. But you all run with it and was playing with it. The same police you were saying that are not doing their job is the same police you are calling to come and do their job. It's the same police you said have been compromised. It's the same police you're saying come and do your job. Choose a side because I have thought, to be honest, baby soft life, I have thought that since October, most of these shenanigans started October 23, they would have opened their own judicial system. They would have opened their own private investigator, have their own police force where the headquarters is in TikTok, and the mad scientist, as they call him, will be their chief investigator, and Susie will be the I don't even know where to place Susie. Susie, you need to take your tablet. When the nurse put it in your mouth, don't keep it in your mouth. Swallow it. So nurse City, when you give Susie her medication, make sure you tell her to do you know she swallow it. So give her water. So you make sure she swallow it so as to maintain her balance. The mechanisms of her brain needs to be balanced, you know. Susie, this is a message of love as a concerned citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Lo oògùn ẹ, ìlera lọ́rọ̀. And number two, Susie, the time you have spent in knowing the in and out of Mohbad, the time you have spent in knowing the strands, the number of hair in Mohbad's hair, if you have spent that time to learn your ABC and learn how to pronounce and learn how to use intonations and stuff, your life might have been better. Because there's absolutely nothing you can call right. Maywa, when I'm giving Maywa three working 3 days, three working 3 days before you now call a whistleblower. You are telling us already you're going to call a whistleblower. Do you know the meaning of a whistleblower? Only you cannot, only you cannot call Meiwa. You can't call Geresi. You can't pronounce transform. What do you now know? Anita, Susie, Anita. Hold on a minute. Chairman, you see, he wasn't prepared to go for that show because the shoe he wore was not comfortable. Susie. 3 days. Is it that 48 hours or 68 hours? I was like, Susie, school is not a scam. When they said go to school, you were following Aries up and down. Now you see your life. Eh? Anita, 3 working 3 days. You're now done three working days. Susie, it's 72 hours. Learn your times table. All this fertile journey you all have been for 18 months. Oh, but Moposhin pronounced Muiwa, not Meiwa. You will have known how to say Gurexi, not Geresi. You will have known how to say Brekete, not Belekete. The thing is here when it comes to the part of the nurse when from what the police was reading that they took this nurse because the police now are not the professionals in the medical field. They took this nurse in the presence of 18 professionals, consultants, pharmacists, and nurses, and they explain what has happened, what those each medications was for, and why it should not have been given outside the clinical area, why it should not be given without supervision by a trained personnel, why this, why that. And they've given you this, like the police, a sequence of events has been given. But you lot that calls Belekete, Brekete, Belekete, now think you know more than a chief commissioner of police or whatever that study, that went to a police academy, that is probably a graduate or a master's holder. You now said, oh, come on, me, Susie, because I live in America, so I can say anything. I know more than you all, so I'm going to tell you your investigation is nothing. I know I'm going to do it. You, the public, said you know more than them. Now you, the public, do it. Do it and let's see how far you can go. Chairman, you are saying they should come, the police should come and tell you what interrogations was done on the 26 people. Then they should come and show. He even went as far as saying when they do autopsy, they take video evidence. Yes, you're right, but they don't show it to the world. That will be desecrating a corpse. Because you see it in movie doesn't mean it is the norm. They take video evidence, they take voice record evidence when they are doing it for their purpose, for teaching purpose and for record purpose, not for the public. Another human is not a circuit, is not your clown show. Asking the police to come and give you updates as who? Chairman gbogbo Federation of gbogbo àgbáyé. Exactly, there are laws that forbid these things. Because they see things in the movie doesn't mean it is 100% how it is done in real life. You cannot desecrate a corpse, a dead body. Yes, it is a body, but it still deserves respect. Chairman, honestly, sometimes I wonder what should be done to you because you're getting worse. Your situation is becoming there. yeah, baby stuff like they're watching CSI upside down, not the real one. The ones they're watching is busting their brain. Because the way they were going on, and the fact for you to know how manipulative these people were. I don't know if you were there early this morning and they were talking about the response someone gave to the lady that asked about the investigation and all that. And at that point, those people were still in custody. And, the, I actually listened to that properly today. Where the lady spoke to the governor and relating it to what if it's your son who would have gotten justice, blah, blah, blah. That is very insensitive. And number two, a state governor has no right to use his influence on an ongoing case. In any sane society, if that happens, they will throw that case out of court or they will take it outside that jurisdiction because that means the judge is biased because he's going to be doing favor for his friends. So you can't tell the governor to use his good office to influence a case that is being in court. That means you're looking for favoritism. The public called and the government listened. And while listening, a path has to be followed, process has to be put in place. You don't just go on the street and pick people because you felt, oh, JJ, look at Mobad one way means he's guilty. Go and pick him. Oh, because Cynthia was cooking fried rice when they were giving her husband injection, go and pick him. That is not how the process of law happens. It doesn't work that way. You wish someone to be in jail doesn't mean they're going to be in jail. You, African thief, you were saying you have gone to Alagbon. There is a process in place to arrest people. I don't know what is wrong with them in that Alagbon. You should have been the first to be arrested because you are one of the people that got us to this point. You sat on social media screaming with that your body that looks like a Remiloko, and you were taunting Omomi with 10 million naira. If you do this, I'll give you the 10 million naira. Not knowing you don't have 10 million kobo. Exactly. They didn't even know she was complainant. They have never sat down to actually use their brain. They haven't done nothing. They just follow whatever is said. If you look at Richie, whatever you say, Richie will say, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's what I'm thinking as well. Oh, yeah, just thought about that. If somebody says, you know what? There was just two needles in the house and the police planted it there. Richie will say, oh, yeah, 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 that's what I was thinking about. And somebody else comes and like, no, it's actually four needles. And Josie locks the door. Oh, yeah, 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 that's what I'm thinking. At your age, you don't have a mind of your own, Richie. Eh? You're there, you don't have a mind of your own. If Susie come, say, oh, listen, Richie, hmm, in this Mobad case, me and Lady Aries, we have been doing it from day one. So I know everything. You see that shoe? It was not his shoe. He was saying in Yoruba that it's not his shoe. Lady Aries interpreted for me. Like, Susie, you've never bought a shoe. Like, you tried the shoe, it fits, you liked it, you plan it for a party. Lo and behold, you got to the party, the shoe didn't fit, or it's painful, or you don't like it anymore. It's never happened to you because you all now are aliens. Exactly, it's not about the number of injections. It is in one of those injections, something caused a reaction, and because the body was trying to fight that thing that the body did not like. This is the process what allergy is. Your body is responding to something that it does not like. And in the process, it started fighting itself. That is what it is. And because I've said it 1 million times here and somewhere else, because the people there does not know what to do. It's escalated. No one knows how to reassure somebody who is panicking, who is struggling for breath, who is having the feeling of impending doom. That is how the young man would have felt. And when you have that feeling, you start fighting it. And the more you fight it, the more your airway is being constricted. These are the sequence of events that has been explained by people that were there. So for someone like me, for the 18 professionals that were called, when they explain it to them, even from the nurse, they already said, more than likely, this is what happened. But because they want to fulfill all righteousness, they still said, okay, let's do the autopsy because people were thinking maybe he was beaten to why. They did autopsy, they said nothing can be found. The only thing that is inconclusive is the toxicology because people are getting it wrong. Not the autopsy. It is the toxicology that was inconclusive. That is the thing. They might not be able to find those medications that were given in his body because it was not poison. It is only something that should not be in the body that most time the toxicology might pick. And he was exhumed 9 days after he was buried. Sample was taken to wherever. Time was wasted. It brought all this. There is no conspiracy anywhere. Even Escobar, he doesn't have this much conspiracy against him, not to talk of a young man from Ikorodu that is just trying to find his faith. You know, it's because the way you make it look as, oh, there is a secret. There is a secret that Mohbad know. Ṣé wọ́n gbé secret sí Nàìjíríà sọ́wọ́ Mohbad ni? Àbí Escobar ni or something? Because people were not even trying to buy Escobar the way they have made it look as if pé gbogbo Èkó ló fẹ́ pa ọmọkùnrin. The body shuts down quickly. The thing is, yeah, babies of life, even in a clinical setting, if they don't know what to do, it will still happen. But in a clinical setting that can pick it immediately would have prevented it because in most hospitals you must have what we call a crash trolley. A crash trolley is when somebody suddenly stop breathing or they have a cardiac arrest or some yeah, cardiac arrest, stop breathing or massive hemorrhage. Those are or you lose an airway. So so we call it crash trolley. It has everything. It's a trolley you can push quickly. It has everything that is needed in an emergency that can sort of do a little bit of stability before other helps come. What, epinephrine pen would have helped because it would have helped to smoothen the airway because at the point of this at the point of this what's it called allergy going reaction going on, the anaphylaxis reaction going on, the airway is constricted. There is so much saliva coming up into the airway, into the mouth. The tongue is getting swollen. Everything is happening to close down the airway. Having the pen could have helped to smoothen the airway, and that would have given them at least another 5 minutes. Oxygen will be there to be given, to help with the perfusion of the blood, and giving a cardiopulmonary resuscitation will help to be pumping blood into the heart and thereby still having the proper circulation the body needs, you know. But all this were missed. The process of us holding the police accountable were missed because we were interested in other things. And in this whole thing, we have people doing camera down and one lobo ketchup. They all,
You know me, yeah. At the beginning of this issue, I remember that time in September when it started. A lot of
yeah,
us that had that clinical knowledge were hammering on it. Look, that they
yeah,
missed out a lot of things. They should have used EpiPen. There was no CPR, no first aid, nothing. Until they
nothing.
started all this, their madness. They just started diverting the whole issue. Oh my goodness, they just started bringing different kind of theories into the matter.
You know what hurt me most was the chance to have hold the government responsible for this has been missed. It's been missed completely
Of course, that was the
because
part of the diversion of Dossier and his team. That's what they started doing because Dossier is not interested in getting justice. So
will anyone come
they
out?
started try using the
Yeah,
issue of DNA until DNA is done.
yeah,
In fact, DNA was the worst.
it was. You know, initially before I started coming up to talk, I was always on the just listening and listening, thinking Nigerians can be that daft now. One day they
Nigerians are
will
daft too. I
understand.
remember that time. I was
This
even
one made me
blaming,
to.
as at that time, I remember I was even blaming Nigerian government that they need to treat the fuck up of their clinical skills, as in the nursing board. What are they doing? There's no policies, nothing.
The thing is, the nursing board have policy. The problem is this person is not a nurse.
It's not a nurse, but in Nigeria, yeah, this thing is is very pyramid with them. It's very paramount for them to be having quack nurses. It should be banned.
In that
I went to
case, it
Nigeria
will
recently. I
be.
was sorry to call. I went to Nigeria recently. My sister, one of my sisters, was telling me, oh, that she's not feeling fine. And I said, okay, what have you? Because she works very hard. She exports food stuff and does her
I
things from
think,
scratch. And she
sis,
was telling
I
me
think the
she went
problem with
to.
Niger,
Let me baby suffer. Wait now. She was telling me that she called the nurse come and sit her. I said, so you know here everything happened to Mohbad. You see they call nurse for house. I said, if I hear them again now, if you don't stand up, go hospital now. No call my phone, no. No, just call my phone. They're still doing it.
Yeah, my sister did as well.
sis. Yeah, so sorry, Mayor. Well done for that because you're really you're explaining in layman's terms. But what I wanted to say is we've got to look at the level of poverty in Niger and that is why it's feeding on all these auxiliary nurses. And I'll say another thing. I mean, being treated in the house. So, for example, I grew up in a family of pharmaceuticals. My mom's a nurse, an intensive care nurse, and she worked in the UK. But when I was in Nigeria, she's qualified, more than qualified to like treat me at home. So if there was an issue, my mom just
Yeah,
treated us. Did you get? My dad was not
yeah,
pharmaceutical, but she was like an intensive care nurse, but she was UK qualified. She even worked in
mm,
Saudi as well as head of the King Fahad Hospital. So the thing is, if she treated me at home, I trusted her. She wasn't like
yeah,
a quack. Do you understand? But some people cannot afford. So what I'm trying to say is some people might have that treatment at home, but they actually are qualified nurses. But
yeah.
having said that, so what they're saying is it's not about how many needles you find on the floor. People need to stop being daft. And it's not about whether it's this medication or that medication. What it is
It could be
saying is,
anything.
and that's what it's saying to the 18 medical professionals the nurse faced, is that the manner just means the way
The way
she
it
She
was
did it.
administered.
treated the
So,
patient.
yes, Eshegon, exactly. So the manner for the layman is, could it be maybe she was meant to give it upper arm or where there's muscle? Could it be, I'm not a medical person, but manner, I'm just explaining manner. Could it be like it shouldn't be in muscles? Could it be vein, no vein?
She gave it
Manner is subsection.
intravenously.
Yes, and it also could be the succession. Is it in quick succession she gave it? What exactly? So that is what they mean by manner. So the medication might be right, but because it's
The
done
manner
in
in
the
which
wrong way.
the root at which she gave
Exactly.
it.
Exactly, sis. And the
Also,
thing
can
is,
I?
a lot of, sorry, should I go on?
I just want to say that as much as we're talking about the manner and the what, though all those medications was not needed in the situation that was described to us, the only thing that was needed was just paracetamol or ibuprofen. But
Okay, that's from
this
you
is
as a
why
medical person. Yeah.
yeah, from me as this is why I keep, if you've not listened to me sometimes, I keep hammering on educating the public part. This is where
Exactly.
educating public. We here in England, you cannot have access to all these IVs. Are we not surviving? Do we not hit our leg? Do
How
we
many
not hurt
IMs,
our hand?
how many injections do they even give us in Europe
Exactly.
as a whole?
As a whole,
Even
if
another
you
thing is, sis here, yeah? You know that all these public spaces, like the churches and some other, like public centers like that, they all have a defib,
yes,
and
the
everybody
train
knows the
station.
code.
Train station,
Exactly.
Tesco's,
Everybody
all
sort
these
of is trained.
supermarkets in UK, they all have it.
Exactly. And the
And
thing is, if you're first aid trained, like I'm pediatric first aid trained, I mean, that is a bit more intense. You all know the code. So if somebody needed the defib, everybody knows. If you are
knows
trained and
where it
you're
is.
aware of it, you know where to go. And to be
Exactly.
honest with you, if some places had defibs in Nigeria, they wouldn't even need to take him. They would keep the CPR or whatever and keep the defib or whatever till somebody comes to rescue. At most,
Very soft life. You remember the
eh?
situation of that little girl that got burnt in Chrisland school? I started screaming. I was like, not even one teacher had the first aid training. Not to talk of
Exactly.
what to do when somebody
Okay.
is electrocuted. They don't have the idea of what to do. They
They
started
just needed
pouring
to
water
switch off the
So you,
source.
from the main
very
source.
soft light.
And it's just common
Do you know?
sense. I'm
Common
telling you
sense.
Do you know
something.
the?
Mayor, please, I'm sorry, Mayor Mabino. Let me tell you why I say it's common sense. You don't have to go to school for it. When I was young,
No.
I remember something happened to someone being electrocuted. And these are people that haven't gone to school in a work site saying, it's just common sense. So some
Common
people don't have to
sense.
go to school to do that. Sorry, Mayor.
I just want to say, like I keep saying, this situation would have been a pointer for change. I don't know if you know the situation that happened that made them to start installing the free in public spaces. It was a football match was it
Yeah, it was that football
2009
thing.
yeah, that football thing.
But
And
He
Mayor,
they
how
had
had
much is
is it
cardiologists.
heart attack or cardiac arrest? What did he have on the
It
stage?
was a
He had a
cardiac
cardiac
arrest.
arrest.
Cardiac arrest.
And
I mean, if you look
for
on
the
Amazon,
luck
DFib is ranging 700 to 15.
the luck that young footballer had was the chief cardiologist, as in somebody that was
Was on
supposed to
site,
be
yeah.
there that can pick what was happening because no one
Immediately.
could pick it. But because he is a professional, he knows, he could see, he was watching the football and he could see the signs of something is not right with this person's heart. He was the one that jumped in because while they were still waiting, he was the one that jumped into the field, gets
Yeah.
on the chest, did not stop cardiac CPR, cardiopulmonary
CPR.
resuscitation,
You know that a
until
lot of people do not recognize
help.
the difference from cardiac arrest and heart attack.
Stroke.
They
Yeah,
don't know the difference.
yeah, there is a different. But the thing is, you have to be. You can't. The outsider, you
It's
can't know the
what
difference. To be honest, it is
I
when
mean,
you're
not being a
now.
go on,
If
go
you're
on.
not in the medical line, you
You
won't know
wouldn't
the
know the
difference
difference.
because all the signs and symptoms is almost the same. It
Similar.
presents the same way. It's only when you like do the D dimer, some blood tests, you do the D dimer and all those that will now
So
help you to
with
differentiate.
the safeguarding, I mean, sorry, not safeguard, with the first aid training, the ABC thing they teach us. What they've just said
Yeah.
to us is with the
It's called
CPR, you can
ILS,
never go wrong.
immediate life support.
Exactly. They always just say if you don't know the signs because you're not a medical person, just CPR. They say you can
Yeah,
never go
just
wrong
keep
because
pumping.
the
You
training
can't go
is
wrong.
if you're having to do CPR in the first place, just take it as NEA already. That's what they've said. NEA is as good as gone. Only so there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do that would worsen the situation of the person. You would only
So
be
just
helping
keep
it.
on going. Yeah.
Just keep going. That's they say you can, but the
Keep
thing
going.
is, they always say whilst you're doing it, keep shouting if there's nobody around you. Because if you've ever tried CPR before, it is tiring.
It
It's
is.
extremely tiring. And
It
in fact, you would need to have someone around you when you're doing CPR. So you don't go there like a hero. It's very,
and
very tiring. Because what my count on your
and
head. But we go on.
and that single act that the doctor did, and because it was a popular footballer, it was a massive thing, the whole world saw it, made him to say, you know what, we need this in public places. We need better education. We need a defibrillator. That is what
Yeah.
brought up having
That.
defibrillators in public places.
Do
And
you
it
even know what I
caused a
wanted to even
change.
touch on, Mayor? What I want to
Yeah,
touch on is the word, because people read all these police preliminary reports and all of that, and it shows that they have a devoid or of language or vocabulary.
yeah,
So
yeah,
how would what I would say is somebody read it and said PB prevailed on Mo not to get down. And the person was going about the prevailed word like ombeni. No. When you prevail on someone, it's intense.
yeah.
It could be even more powerful. It could even be more like, you're not getting down.
Controlling.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and it could involve a bit of touch, grab, and all of that. So the person reading, he prevailed. Nigerians, they just don't want Moibo. And instead of you to say you don't understand or use a thesaurus or use a dictionary, Mama and Russia, the thing is, when you prevail on someone, it's not a begging. You're not begging somebody when you prevail on them. When you prevail on people,
You
you can be
exert your
forceful.
power.
You
Yeah.
can become aggressive when you prevail on a person. So it could even be a case of even way back when they said prevail. What I did was I just thought, oh babe, maybe try to open the car door, open pada saying it's in moto, that kind of thing. So you don't when
Yeah.
you prevail on someone, you're not begging them. You're actually being a bit forceful and trying to be in charge of that person's thinking, reasoning, whatever it is. So when people read stuff and they just misinterpret it, it just blows my mind to go show. So you don't know the meaning of prevail at your age. And if you don't know it,
It's
it's okay. Use a dictionary and go, that's a
exactly.
key word. Why would he be upset someone prevailed on him? Let me have a dictionary to look at the keyword. I mean, I can see Mide is itching to come up. Mide, I can come down for you because Mide is saying it don't
Face,
bust.
face. And
But no, well done,
oh,
Mayor. That is done really nicely, really calmly. And a lot of the time, the calm is where the message can easily be like passed across and all of that. So that was really super good. I even learned quite a bit as well. So fab, well
thank
done.
you.
Yeah.
And also the part of the procaine penicillin, is one of the most causes of allergies in people. Penicillin is it has high penicillin in it. And the question is, why does she need to give procaine pen when she's already giving ceftriaxone? These are the overkill, and this is one of the things that happens with us as Nigerians. And when they now go to, and most Nigerians don't know that they are actually resistant to a lot of methicillin. That's what is called MRSA, methicillin resistant staphylococcus aureus. So if they should have staphylococcus, most of the penicillin based antibiotics will not be able to treat that infection.
If if even Mayor in a layman's term, yeah, it was this first aid training that made me realize. Do you know we were actually taught that a lot of the time when your body cites danger, what it
Yeah.
does is it shuts down, and your body is not
Hmm.
aware that it's going to buy you, but your body
Yeah.
will start shutting down, shutting down. The shutting down
Hmm.
is actually to protect you,
Exactly.
and your body is not realizing that by shutting down, it's finishing
It's
you. Can you
harming
imagine
you.
that? It's
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
amazing science is. Because I didn't quite know. And do you know what? I've been
Yeah.
doing first aid training for a good 20 years, and I renew it every time. It was the last one, and the person who came, because he was very animated in the way he was, showing us what to do and all of that.
Yeah.
And he was the one person who then said, your body shutting down is actually to protect you, but it doesn't
Yeah.
realize that it's buying you in the process.
Mhm.
And another thing I learned from him is try not to be taking like medication every time. Because what he
Yeah.
said is the next time you take that same one, you've reduced your level of, is it tolerance
Immunity.
level or whatever it is?
Yeah,
It
tolerance
decreases.
level. Yeah.
It decreases each. And you know what? People just need to go and do first aid training and or go for free ones because there's so many free ones out there. But when you say to
So
Nigerians
many.
to
They
go do
don't want to
something
read.
free, they don't turn up. If you tell them to go to Glasgow's, oh wow, they're there. So a lot of the time is
And
what exactly are you people doing? Because a
exactly.
lot of that is
And
needed in Nigeria.
that's why I'm so big on the education part. The public sensitization. It's needed. It is really needed.
It
There are
really is, I tell you. Mayor, I can't say it enough.
so many unneeded deaths. So
Even the
many.
carriage, there's some way somebody has an issue. The advice is don't even move them. Because there's a way you move them that it then messes up with the airways.
Yeah,
And there's now restriction of
exactly.
airflow.
Then
And there's the
there's
recovery
restriction.
position. And
Exactly.
unfortunately, the system just doesn't allow for it.
No.
The system doesn't allow for it because if it was like here, you put the person in recovery position, you continue with the
Hmm.
CPR, you might have a defib
Yeah.
next to you, pending the time the ambulance comes. But in Nigeria, you don't have that. So you've got to
No. They'll
move the
just be
person.
pouring water.
Exactly,
And
or
think
pouring
about
water.
them, be
And people
pouring
saying
water.
pouring water. You see, we were told there's no need to pour water. Yes. But I think the psychology of the pouring the water is to calm the person, to calm the, like when we did the training, the guy was saying that when the person is like going, the
Hmm.
nerves are more to the surface of the skin and something is
Yeah.
happening. So that
Yeah.
pouring of water is to reduce or limit whatever that reaction is. There was a term he used, but like I told you, it was the first day training, so I didn't have to keep some of the terms in my head. But I was actually quite shocked to hear that as well. So when
Al-
people pour water,
Also,
they're not being stupid.
they are not
It's
being
to stop
stupid.
that reaction of the nerves. But
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, on what you about who are schooled or educated, they don't have the words to describe what they're doing. But it
And
works.
also when you're having irregular heart rate, it can be used as a form of cardioversion in in the
Yeah.
in the community, not like in the Western world, but in the community, cardioversion basically means somebody's heart rate is going like that.
Going through
Just
stuff, yeah.
yeah, is
Let
going like 140 miles per hour, not in a straight,
I
not in a line it should go, but just going up, down, 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 up, down, like that. So you're
Romeo,
doing,
because I think because you're in the medical field, I think if you want to do anything here, I think people who come up instead of using technical terms and scientific terms just need to go layman. I'll give you an
yeah,
example. There was this person, these people were not educated, nothing like that, and the boy had was choking from like a bone in the throat.
mhm,
And they were really worried and struggling. Do you know what they did? They got this child, in as much as he was uncomfortable, to kneel down. And
mhm.
Odo, the old wake back Odo,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
that heavy Odo for
They
mortar, yeah.
they put
They
on,
now put it
yeah,
on the child's head.
mm,
And somebody held it onto the child's head. You already know what that is about. That was just to
yeah,
widen the esophagus region to
yeah,
allow the
and
bone go
get
down. Can you
yeah,
imagine? So the fact
yes.
that what I'm just saying is you don't sometimes have to go to school to have
To have
some
common sense,
iota of brain because they just must
yes,
have thought, okay, if we can widen the neck, and put pressure, the neck will be squashed,
we
open up,
force,
and the bone can
yeah,
move. Can you
yeah,
imagine?
yeah,
And yet, some people feel that they have to be all in white gown, and I'm not. The medical
no,
profession has its own doing. But even where we have people who are not learned or whatever, these things can still be passed on in layman's terms because it was also a type of first aid and they
yeah,
can
it
do
is.
it, pending the time. I mean, that boy in a preschool who passed on because he was choking on chicken, I thought, my goodness. Instead
Wow.
of, by the time they got him in the cab, got him to the hospital, he was gone. Something could have been done there and then to dislodge it.
The thing is, in our system, there is a lot of unlearning that needs to be done and a lot of relearning. I was reading in the newspaper the other day about a 2 years old that drowned in a school premises. And I was thinking, what is a pool doing in a school environment for toddlers, for children?
I think it's
What
more like it's okay to have a pool there, but what risk assessment was in place? Was there
was in
like a
place?
fencing around it? Is there like a netting around it? Is the gate locked? Who locks the gate? Is it above the height of children so they can't reach to open it? All those sort of things are because the pool itself is not the issue. It's the logistics and the risk assessment that is the
None
problem.
of them. And the thing is, even when you've done all these risk assessments and you feel it is safe, then you need to train staff back to first aid.
Yeah,
You need
yeah.
to train them because you can never be too careful with children.
No,
You
you
can
can't. You can
never,
never
ever,
be.
ever.
You can never
So,
be
what?
because should if it's just that the environment is what it is. Even with I do like a fire marshal training as well, and with the fire marshal training, if you come to my house, you see a fire blanket and you see a fire extinguisher.
Yeah,
Have I ever used it in over 15 years? No, but I still would renew the training, and I still have those
yeah.
things in my house because you never know.
You never
You
know.
just never know.
It's just,
I
it's
think it's
just
useful when
terrible.
people are educated in layman terms instead of technical
Yeah,
jargons, because some of the things I want to believe, some of the things we've said today will stick with people more than us using like technical terms and saying when you open the things and then the artillery and the day-to-day, people don't understand what you're saying. Even people who are, in school, they don't understand it because they're saying, that kind of thing, because it's not their field, so they
yeah.
don't have subject knowledge. You get, but if you teach people something with examples, everyday examples, it will stick. Because some people are visual and you'll be more multisensory
Yeah.
to them. But no, I think you've had a good one this morning because that was actually what made me come up. The way you were explaining it was
Oh,
just free flow. It was good.
thank
But
you.
I think people also need to grow courage and have some bravery. Because if indeed people were on that panel and they knew the meaning of maybe prevailed on, say your truth, even if you're the only one and every other person is facing some other direction. I would rather just say
Yeah.
the truth I know to
And
find
just,
out I was wrong later, then it's just 1 out of 8 wrong. But if you just lump
mhm,
along with people, you are promoting that rumor because your
exactly.
silence speaks
It's,
consent.
it, yeah,
So it's
it
again,
does.
if you actually did know and you're on that panel, you say, hang on, what is prevail? Why did they have to prevail on him? So all these things, don't she they didn't know what they were doing. They know what they're doing. They use that
When,
term, even though it's just a preliminary and it's just findings and this is what we've heard. The fact that they use the term prevail does not mean there was no, it's just a word that is so open and open to interpretation. So instead, because
same
they
way they
haven't
use
actually
the,
understood what happened at that point in time. So they've used that term
exactly.
prevail because they could figure out there was some sort of restriction or trying to coerce him not to leave the space
Yeah.
he was in. But because they don't know in the manner it was done, was he pulled, was he pushed, was he, they don't know. So they just used prevailed, which is a very strong form of intervention to get somebody to do something or, that kind of thing. But Oyinbo is not any
And,
problem. And one of them are
and
Makibeju.
when they asked, but he said he bled. How was the bleeding stop? Was it an emergency? Was it this? And I think I wrote here that there is something they call factor nine. It's part of the. I was more writing it here because I didn't even want to go to their platform. But one of anyone that is interested could have picked it that factor nine is part of the blood stuff. And I wrote again, then the prothrombin time, the clotting system. When you have a cut, you like whatever happens to our body, your brain will signal to you that depending on what part is needed, your brain will tell the factor nine that oh, there is a bleeding going on somewhere. Send the prothrombin, send this, send that, send the it's basically
Exactly.
send all the things that are needed to clot. That's why you see those things will be
Exactly.
there.
And you see,
It-
when
that is the
when the way
best.
the body acts, because when the training I had for the first aid thing was if if a child has a falling or a bruising or they cut themselves, the training
Yeah.
is with water scrub it really well. And they did
Yeah.
say I'm not saying concurring, please, people, I didn't say concurring, but they
Just
said scrub it. I have to be clear now. Scrub it really well. Do you know what I found out when I actually did that once? When you do that, you hardly scab.
Yeah.
You hardly scab. And the healing process is so different and it's almost quicker. But of course, it depends on the size of the wound, isn't it? I'm just talking about a bruising. But with his, what people don't understand is if something was bleeding at that time, at the time the body realizes there's been a puncture, there will be that whole, the whole body system. I don't know what you guys call it in medical terms, but sends that blood to that one place, that outlet. But the thing is, you can also have pressure on it. But when there's pressure on it to stop the bleeding, it's possible the bleeding actually does stop. And then when there's upset at a later time to that movement of the hand or the way they slept on it, it could actually trickle again. But the problem is people don't think out of the box. They just listen to one sentence and they go that way. Instead of thinking, okay, if they said it stopped, then it started, what made it start again if indeed it stopped? But people don't.
bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ ṣe ń jẹ ìyàwó ọmọ yín náà lẹ́sẹ̀ gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ló dẹ̀ hàn síta láti change ways yín gan ẹ change ẹ̀ kọ́ lọ kó lè ṣe gbogbo nǹkan fún yín kọ́ lọ sin ọmọ yín ẹ bá ti mú gbogbo nǹkan tí bàbá Mohbad ń ṣe látijọ́ tẹ́tí rí pé nǹkan tó ń ṣe ò dáa tẹ́tí pariwo ẹ̀ síta àwọn èèyàn wọ́n ti dìde wọ́n ti sin ọmọ yín ṣé bọ́mọ yẹn ṣe wà bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣó dáa ni.
She's silently in support. It's because if she's being assured that she's going to get her own share, you will see they all come back. Mo ti sọ tẹ́lẹ̀ rí.
Sister Louis Papi, ẹ má bínú Sister Láwùmí ọ̀rọ̀ tí mi Sister Louis Papi mi mọ full pronunciation orúkọ yẹn. She made it clear at the time tí wọ́n ti rí ibi tí Jòsí ti ń lọ ńgbà tí Jòsí ti ń ṣorí burúkú táwọn kan àwọn abiyamọ kan ò lè sùn táwọn kan ń sunkún kò dẹ̀ sí nǹkan méjì ẹran ara ni ẹni tó bá nírú ẹni òun ló mọ yìí ẹni kò kí ṣe pé bóyá anybody bá yín tán nídìílé àlọ́ba but à ń wò wípé kò jẹ́ kí gbogbo ẹ̀ kó máa lọ báyìí and those things came natural when it comes to pé bóyá people are supporting Wunmi supporting Liam supporting you and your other children at that time tí gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ yẹn gbogbo wa dìde fún ẹni a dìde fún torí pé arípolórí burúkú ni wèrè ti bí wọ́n dẹ̀ sọ fún ẹ pé òkè bó ṣe ń lọ yìí o ẹni tó ti bọ́ta tó ti sọ̀rọ̀ àkọsí kan tí ó sọ̀tọ̀ orí ti ẹ̀gbọ́n náà ló ti kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ gbogbo bó ṣe gbọ́ mọ́lẹ̀ tó ń rìn lọ tó ń ti yàrá kan bọ́ sílé kan. tó jẹ́ pé lọ́jọ́ náà lọ gbogbo ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa sọ wípé irọ́ ló ń pa abatẹnijẹ́ ọkùnrin ni wọ́n dẹ̀ sọ fún ẹ wọ́n ní legally tètè fi òfin de kó ṣe kọ́kọ́ náà she said no òun ò lè sue she came out she said it àwọn ìtọ̀yàn kan sọ ń sìn wípé easier said than done she should keep the same energy now nísìsiyìí tí wọ́n máa láì lórúkọ ọmọ ẹ̀ tó fẹ́ bá yé ọmọ ẹ̀ dá àtọ́jọ́ iwájú ọmọ ẹ̀ kí ló wọ́n mu tó bọ́ta she should have kept the same energy she should keep the same energy ẹjọ́ nítorí ẹlẹ́jà sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ fún wa lọ́rọ̀ fẹ́ jọ.
ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ tó bá ní ká má sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́nu máa drop ẹ sọ̀rọ̀.
èèyàn kò wá lùzọ dídán ọmọ kan ní tó mọ pé.
mo fẹ́ béèrè kankan mo tún bá nọ́tìsì kankan pa yẹmi ọ̀dẹ́ múyàn sí tó bá ti dọ̀rọ̀ ya Mohbad báyẹn ẹ má wà defensive lórí ọ̀rọ̀ wọn ẹ jọ tó bá ti dọ̀rọ̀ ya Mohbad ẹ bá ti mọ̀ pé ojú yín ò gbà ẹ máa bọ́lẹ̀ fún ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ máìndì wa ẹ jọ nítorí Ọlọ́run mi ò kí máa ń láìkì kí máa rú àwọn ara wa ẹ jọ máa.
orí mama sita ó ní iye tá dá lórí mama sita èyí la kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí dáwó fún ká tó dáwó fún Wunmi àtọ. èyí la kọ́kọ́ dáwó fún.
ẹjọ ó tẹ ní nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ.
ṣé mi lẹ sọ fún.
ṣé wọn gbọ́ ńgbà tí wọ́n release àwọn ẹyin ikú ńgbà tó release secret recording tó ṣe pẹ̀lú gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tó sọ. See every one of us, ani àní drag wọn, it's a wọn ò bá ṣe jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ àní drag Ìyámọ̀. Ṣé Ìyámọ̀ ò gbọ́n gbà yẹn? Pẹ̀lú gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ sọ, tẹ́ pé èmi gan fún ara mi I struggle to hold myself. Pé kí ló dé? Kí ló le tó yẹn? Kí ni ọmọ yẹn ò bá tẹ̀ ṣe fún yín? I struggle to hold myself not to talk.
To me, a biggest challenge to me is taking side.
A lot of people struggle that they respected you. They didn't say anything about that voice recording. We let it go because we knew the agenda the other side were trying to play.
and because we knew that we let it slide. Ó dà pé rí ń gbà yẹn.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú, ẹ jẹ́ kí n sáré sọ̀rọ̀, mo wà níbi iṣẹ́, ẹ má bínú, ẹ káàárọ̀ everybody. Mo ní question méjì tí mo fẹ́ béèrè ni. Number one, torí inú tèmi lèmi mọ̀ mi ò múnú ẹlòmíì. Ìgbà tí mo jáde fún justice for Mohbad, kò sí èèyàn kankan tó sanwó fún mi. Mi ò mọ̀, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ṣé alẹ́ni tó ń gba owó lórí bíbá yìí fún justice for Mohbad tí wọ́n sanwó fún? Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú.
Iṣi mi ò gbà.
Gbowó kò sẹ́nibọ̀dì tó ti gbowó fẹ́mi o.
Sọ inú ilẹ̀ mọ̀ Sister Cindy, inú ilẹ̀ mọ̀ wọn ní bọ́tà sọ.
Tábà wá gba owó, ta ló máa control wa? Ta ló ra data fún wa tó máa control wa? Then the second one tí mo tún fẹ́ béèrè, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ látijọ́ tí wọ́n ti ń gbé picture family wa tó ti ń ṣépè, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ṣé aréyàn kan nu family wọn tó bọ́ta wá tó wá bẹ̀ wá pé ẹ má bínú pé wọ́n ń gbé picture yín àbí wọ́n ń ṣépè fún yín? Tí ò bá ti sí,
ẹ power tap o ẹjọ torí Ọlọ́run o.
Tí ò bá ti sí, èèyàn kankan ò lè control wa pé nǹkan báyìí ni ká sọ. Wọn ò jẹ́ ká sọ ní the other house ni, so tó bá dẹ̀ ti jẹ́ ká sọ, ibi tá bá ti lẹ́nu láti lè lọ sọ, a máa sọ. Ṣẹ́rẹ́ pípù yìí àti ìyá àti bàbá wọn ìkọ̀kan kò sí yàtọ̀ nínú wọn, ẹ má yẹ ká tanra wa jẹ. Kò sí ìyàtọ̀ nínú wọn, ìkọ̀kọ̀ gbé tiẹ̀ síta, ìkan ṣe tiẹ̀ lábẹ́ ni. Kò sí ìyàtọ̀. Now you wonder the reason why nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sáwọn ọmọ wọn ṣe ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wọn. Ẹ rí pé ìkan ògbé kan ni làwọn méjèèjì. So and that's the same thing tó fẹ́ ṣe fún Ọmọ́wùnmí, tọ́lọ́run wá gbé àwọn èèyàn dìde to support Ọmọ́wùnmí. Okay, tí wọ́n bá ń bú ẹ̀yin àbọ̀ ń ṣe kíní, ẹ máa ń rí o, but tó bá ń bú àwọn tó ń support yín, ẹ máa ń kú gbà yẹn. Bóyá kẹ́ kú lọ kú finally, ẹ má bínú, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ mo wà níbi iṣẹ́, ẹ ṣé.
The most diabolical thing she did, you know your daughter-in-law and her sister are not in good term. Ọmọ ìyá méjì, bó tiẹ̀ dá sọ́rọ̀ ọmọ ìyá méjì yẹn, o take side, that is evil. And now, one of the so-called ọmọ ìyá méjì is your daughter-in-law that is taking care of your grandson. You're so partial to the extent that that hatred that you have for that guy is so big enough to go and attach yourself to the sister that they are not in good time. Kò sí ẹni tó lè bá mi sọ ní àtẹni náà àlè jọsọ.
Ẹ má bínú Sister Bisi ẹ má bínú. Ẹ má ibi iṣẹ́ tí mo wà yóò dáṣà. Nítorí ẹ̀ mo ṣe sọ fún Josidi Capita pé nǹkan tẹ̀yìn lẹ̀ mọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ̀ sọ pé wọ́n support Wunmi. Òun ni mo ṣe ń try láti kọ́ tí wọ́n bẹ̀ yẹn pé bóyá nǹkan tó wá sọ the first time lẹ tẹ̀lé. And I would remind us pé she said mo dúró fún Liam ni kò Ọmọ́wùnmí lọ dúró fún.
Did you not see what Karimo was saying about that Liam as well? Was she dead? Please let me know, was she dead? Wasn't she alive? I mean, to me, to even come between ọmọ ìyá méjì tó ń jà, that is evil. That is the diabolical. Tọ́mọ ìyá méjì bá ń jà, tí hatred yẹn tó deep tó yẹn. And you now, instead of you to stand me down, or keep your mouth shut, you now took side. You are now gossiping. There's a gossiping about the younger sister with the older sister. That is evil. That is diabolical. I can never forgive such
person. Ẹ má bínú. Mo rí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn sọ ẹ má bínú. Ẹ mọ̀ nǹkan tí mo ṣe ń sọ mo tẹnu mọ́ pé mi ò dá sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn lánàá. It's because of pé ìjà wọn ò ṣe é gbé. Nǹkan tí mo sọ yìí lóòótọ́ ẹni tí wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ tó bú lánàá ó ṣe nǹkan tí ò dáa fún àwọn gbogbo fúnra wọn. But when you now
that woman
no nǹkan tí ẹ ti gbọ́ tí mo sọ ṣé mo pé láyàsí yẹn kò ṣe nǹkan tó dáa fún wọn fúnra wọn. And people were making reference to that. In as much as they are making reference to it, ara ló táwọn tó fi make reference to it, right? Nǹkan tẹ́mi ṣe mí tèmi pé I would rather not say anything than things like this to come up and it to now be big. Ìjà wọn people yìí ò ṣe gbé. Ìjà wọn ò ṣe gbé. They will come out and rub it in your face. Ṣé irú nǹkan tó ṣe lánàá yẹn ẹ má bínú mo wà ń bẹ̀ lánàá mi ò sọ ẹgbọ́n tí president fi mí ṣe yẹ̀yẹ́
pé mọ̀mí Kúbí
I was
sọ̀rọ̀
looking
lánàá
for some woman.
mi ò dá sí mo dákẹ́ mi ò sọ pí.
Because that woman will throw everyone under the bus.
Ṣé ráwọn people yìí I'm telling you ṣe tán báyìí ọlọ́mọ ayé kí wọ́n wá jẹ̀bi pé kí ni tí mo ṣe ṣe rí a lot of